Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and I am coming back to GMT's Coin series, Counterinsurgency games, this time with a big one, Fire in the Lake. I'm going to do a partial solo playthrough for this one, and then give some thoughts on the game at the end. I'm not going to do a separate review, because honestly, my thoughts on this one aren't too different from the other coin games I've played, Pendragon, Gandhi, Cuba Libre. But this game is focused on the war in Vietnam. I'll be controlling the allied forces of the Republic of Vietnam and the United States. And I'll have two automa controlling the North Vietnamese and the Viet Cong. And I'm using the Trung expansion, which adds a card system similar to what they had in Gandhi to this game. So this is a separate expansion for a updated automa. And no disclaimer needed for any of this. I borrowed the main game from a viewer of the channel, and I bought the expansion myself. And if you like the content of the One Stop Co-op Shop, consider supporting us through Patreon. You get early access to our videos and exclusive videos every month. You can also check out our separate streaming channel, listen to our weekly podcast, or join the conversation on our Discord. So the basic idea of the coin games is that you have different opposing factions, often nominally allied, like in this case, yes, the US, which is represented by the olive token here, is working with the Republic of Vietnam, which is the yellow, but they kind of have contrasting goals at the same time. Same thing with the Viet Cong in blue and the NVA in red. And you're generally fighting over control of different areas. This is a very big, very vertical map, so I'll be showing different pieces at a time. But here, if you want to get an idea of almost the whole thing, there's a large portion of it. And there's a few core things to understand about the board. So you have these circular spaces that are cities. You have these larger land masses, which are provinces. And then you've also got economic roads and rivers that are the borders between these things. And the key elements to understand are all right here. The provinces and cities will have a square number, which is the population. Bigger means more impact in the game. They also have a control space. This can be NVA controlled, coin controlled, which is the US and Republic of Vietnam together, or uncontrolled if they tie each other. To determine control, you're comparing the number of pieces each faction has there. Although for NVA control, they have to outnumber basically everybody there, including their Viet Cong allies. And then you've got the support or opposition of the people. Support means that they are more on the Republic of Vietnam's side. Opposition means they're more on the Viet Cong side. And each of the factions kind of focuses on different things. The US is mainly about support. They want the people behind the Republic of Vietnam. Whereas the Republic of Vietnam is more about controlling territory. And then the Viet Cong and the NVA have sort of the same division. The NVA is all about controlling territory, but they don't care as much about support or opposition. Whereas the Viet Cong is all about opposition and getting the people on their side. Now, they each also have another metric. You can see the victory point trackers up here. You just kind of keep track of it as the game goes. The NVA and the Viet Cong also care about how many bases they have on the board, which are these circular pieces. Cubes are troops and fighting forces. The exception to that are for the Republic of Vietnam, they have yellow troops and orange police. Whereas these octagonal pieces are guerrillas for the NVA and Viet Cong, and irregular troops and kind of like rangers and stuff for the Republic and the United States. And then on the other hand, the US is trying to pull out as many troops as it can, so the fewer people it has on the board, the closer it is to victory. Basically, they want to make the people like the Republic and then leave. And the Republic is trying to give patronage to their supporters by kind of pulling resources and money from what the US is giving them. So they want control of the board and as much patronage as they can get. Now, how the game actually works is through these event cards. Each event card will have generally 2 event options, and then it'll have from left to right an indication of the different factions. And this gives the faction order of who can choose to act. So in this case, the Republic of Vietnam would have the first choice of what to do. They can either execute one of the events, or they can resolve some operations, some actions on the board, like moving, attacking, recruiting, that kind of stuff. And based on which choice they make, the next faction is going to have more or fewer choices because 2 factions can act per event card. So for example, in this case, if yellow decided to do the event, then they give the next faction the maximum choice of what kind of actions to do. Whereas if they took a big action with a special activity, the second faction could only do the event or a limited operation. That means only in a single space on the board. And if they did an operation and action with no special activity, no kind of bonus effect, then the only choice for the second faction is a limited operation in a single space. So the more you do, the more you allow the next faction to do. But you can also pass to get more resources and go to the next card because you can always see what the next 2 cards are going to be, the active one and the upcoming one. Now seated in here are coup cards like this. Those are going to trigger coup rounds where first of all you see if anybody has won, and if they have, then the game ends. Although when you're playing with the automa like I am, I technically have to go through the entire deck and get to the final coup before I'm allowed to win. That's basically a balancing mechanic because sometimes the automa can do something dumb and let me kind of get to a powerful position, and that forces me to kind of survive for the long haul. But additionally, when the coup round happens, like you get to shift your forces around, a bunch of things happen, you get a different effect based on who the current leader of the Republic of Vietnam is. And finally, to look at the automa, again, I'm playing with the expansion. They do have an automa in the base game, but it's more based on flowcharts and more consistent in what they do. In this case, you have different cards that are still kind of like mini flowcharts. They'll ask you, is something, true or not, and send you down different paths, or even have you flip the cards based on it. But these are going to control which actions the NVA and the Viet Cong do in this case. All right, so those are the basics. It's a pretty complicated game, but hopefully you enjoy it, and we'll see if I have any chance of survival. And we're not going to play a full game. I'll go through 1 or 2 coup rounds. We'll see how long it is after the first coup, and, I'll shoot for the video to be about an hour or so. So wish me luck, and let's get going. All right, so looking here, the current event, the Republic of Vietnam is first to act, and then it's going to be the NVA, so the U.S. probably won't get to go, but then the U.S. is first on the next card. So there's really no reason for the Republic of Vietnam to pass. So first, let's consider the event. The US or ARVN can free sweep into or in any Cambodia spaces, then free assault in one. There's a few core action types here you need to understand. Sweeping generally means moving forces where guerrillas are, the octagonal pieces, and then revealing them, having their star side up, which means they are now vulnerable to being removed. Generally speaking, when they are unrevealed with their star side down, they can't be affected by anything. And then assaulting is how you kill things. That part is probably pretty straightforward. And the card talked about Cambodia. On the east side of the board, you have Vietnam. Over here, you've got Cambodia, and then above that, Laos. So these are other countries that the NVA is kind of shuffling their forces through. You can send troops in there, but it can backfire on you if you do, because you're bringing other countries into the conflict. So this is a really interesting event to consider, because the NVA starts out with these being like major staging grounds for their combat. But with this card, I could theoretically send some forces into one of these places, flip up their guerrilla, and then immediately attack them and potentially blow up their base. So it's pretty powerful. Now, of course, the negative of that is if I take the event, then the NVA is going to get a full big action to respond to me. Now, I definitely don't want to let them do the event if I chose to do like a big action, because it lets them rally, basically recruit a ton of units in Cambodia, and then move them for free, so they would just like take over southern Vietnam. So yeah, I'm mainly looking at either doing the event or doing a small operation, just a regular operation, so that they can't do the event. And you know what? What the hey? We're going to go ahead and do the event. Let's get aggressive. So the place I'm going to try to go is the Fishhook. They don't really have very much there to stop me, and that would kind of cut off the Parrot's Beak from having much going on for them. Because right now, almost all of the NVA's forces are in southern Laos, North Vietnam, and they've taken this one province at the north of South Vietnam. So the card says US or Republic of Vietnam. I think I'm going to use the US because they tend to have an easier time actually blowing things up. And for a sweep, you can move people into an adjacent province, but you can also let them travel along one line of communication, which is either a river or a highway, and then into an adjacent space. So for example, I could send, in this case, this is what I'm going to do, 2 of these US troops from this city along this river and into the Parrot's Beak. And then I can send 2 troops from here along this highway into the Fishhook. If there were enemy units on these LOCs, I couldn't use them for that movement, but there aren't. And then how sweeping works is for each troop in the location, you get to flip 1 guerrilla to revealed, except if you're in jungle, that's jungle, this lighter green is lowlands, and then the brown is the highlands, which is harder to attack in. So in the jungle, I need 2 troops for each gorilla I flip, so I'm going to reveal gorillas here and here. And then I get to assault in one of the locations. The US is the best at assaulting in the game. They get to defeat 1 piece for each unit they have there. So I'm going to choose to assault in the Fishhook, 1, 2. Normally you can't kill bases unless every gorilla there is first revealed and eliminated. They kind of protect bases. But in this case, I do indeed defeat one of the NVA's bases. I have kicked them out of the Fishhook, which, by the way, means that this is now a coin-controlled province. Oh, and actually, you know what? Looking at that, why don't I move in a third troop here, and that way I'll also make the Parrot's Beak coin-controlled. A lot of actions aren't available to factions if they don't have control or support or opposition there, so I might lock the NVA out of doing some things there. All right, so I have largely kicked the NVA out of southern Cambodia. That's a pretty cool start. Now remember though, that was the Republic of Vietnam's event, not the US. They just chose to let the US do the sweep. So now because they resolved the event, the next faction, which is the NVA, can pass or choose to do an operation with a special activity, so kind of the strongest action on the board. And they have a little eligibility chart that kind of tells you what they'll do. So in this case, the second eligible faction, the NVA, they're first going to see if they're first on the next card, and it's a critical event. That's determined by this chart where you take the event numbers and see if it's a C for critical, a P meaning they'll play it, or a dash meaning they don't care. But in the case of the next card, the US is first, so the NVA wouldn't get a crack at the event anyway, so we're going to ignore that part. Okay, then it says, did the first faction choose an operation of special activity? They didn't. Will they be first eligible on the upcoming card? They won't. Okay, and basically, long story short, we're going down to number 5. Because the other faction chose the event, they're going to do an operation of special activity. So we already kind of knew that, but basically they'll check if there are like major events or they're first on the next card and they might prefer to wait to do that kind of stuff. All right, so with that, we go to the deck of cards. You always move the top card to the bottom, and then you keep on going until you get the correct number. And how these work is you have a series of yes-no statements. If you get to one of these icons, you're going to draw a different card. You'll go to the next card for that faction. If you get to one of these icons, you flip the card over and resolve different activities. And sometimes they'll also have you like rolling dice and stuff. So here it says, is the coin-controlled population plus patronage greater than or equal to 42? They're basically seeing how successful the Republic of Vietnam is at the moment. And at the moment, we have not taken any additional space, and it started at 41. So this is a no. We're going to go to the next red card, which says, are there any 2 population spaces without coin control? And heck yes, there are a ton. For example, these 2 down here only have blue Viet Cong guerrillas in there. Now, the Viet Cong cannot control a location. Only the NVA or coin can control it. But the answer is yes. So now we're going to roll 2d6 and see if it's less than or equal to the number of available NVA guerrillas. And they have a ton, so the answer is going to be yes. So they're going to do a rally action, and you follow these numbers one by one. And for standard full actions, most actions you take will require resources. This is the Republic of Vietnam resources. The US and Vietnam share that. But for the automa with this card deck, they don't use resources. Well, the Viet Cong kind of do. They have this track that like lets them know how much they can shift public opinion. But the NVA doesn't use resources at all. Instead, the card will indicate in the upper right a d6 value. And after each action you resolve, so in this case, each base you place, or each space where they place guerrillas, they're going to roll a d6, and if they roll a 1 or 2, it's kind of like their resources are running low and they choose to stop. If they roll a 3 through 6, they'll keep on going. So theoretically, they could like rally until every single place they rallied in is fully rallied. But if they roll an early 1 or 2, they could stop the action early. So the rally action lets the NVA do 3 things. They can replace a bunch of their guerrillas, the octagonal pieces, with a base. But it says they need 3 or more guerrillas. The only location where they have that much is in this province up here, but only 2 bases are allowed in each location. So since there's a Vietnam base and a NVA base here, they cannot do that. So they're going to skip that instruction entirely. And next it says select spaces using place guerrillas. And the NVA can rally anywhere where there is not support. So that would include like 2 province spaces like this where there's active opposition, but also places like this where even though the police are in control, the actual population is neutral. So only things like in Saigon where there's actually support would prevent them from rallying their guerrillas. This is not troops, by the way. These are guerrillas into the space. So this is the bane of your existence. Even though they use the cards, they still have these things. And it said place guerrillas. So what you'll do is you'll look at the matching column. So here we go, place NVA guerrillas. And you're looking at the conditions that have dots. Top to bottom means higher to lower priority. So first, they're going to look for a space where there is a vulnerable NVA base. That means vulnerable, there are no face-down guerrillas preventing the base from being destroyed. So lucky us, usually you have to go through several levels of priority to figure out where the first base is, but in this case, the Parrot's Beak has a vulnerable base from our sweep a second ago. So we're going to go ahead and rally there first. And how many gorillas do they rally? If they don't have a base in the place, they just put down a single gorilla. But if they have a base, they place a number of gorillas equal to the number of bases in the space, plus the current value of the Ho Chi Minh Trail. This is at 2 right now. This is kind of representing how good their logistics are to get people through Cambodia and Laos and down into Vietnam. And again, right now it's 2. So with 1 base here and a trail value of 2, they're going to rally 3 more gorillas, which immediately gives them control of the Parrot's Beak. They now outnumber the U.S. forces here. And now before they rally again, we're going to roll. A 1 or a 2 will stop their rally short. Oh, that was lucky. So they cannot rally anybody else. That was the end of this action for them. But a few things still happen. They were doing an operation with special activity. So we have to get to the special activity in a second, but they also have this star. You always resolve star actions, even if the other actions are stopped short by a bad roll. In this case, they can improve the trail for free. So the trail is going up to a 3 value. If it gets to 4, they become incredibly mobile through Laos and Cambodia. One of the main ways to reduce the trail is to use airstrikes as the U.S., so I could potentially do that on my next turn. All right, and now their special activity. They're either going to infiltrate or bombard. They'll infiltrate if a 3d6 roll is less than or equal to available NVA troops. And we don't even need to roll because they have way more than 18 troops, the highest I could roll. So they are definitely going to infiltrate. So they do have these are from the base game, not the expansion. These summaries of the actions. Basically, infiltration will let them take over VC forces, because again, the NVA, while technically allied with the VC, is also kind of doing their own thing. Or it lets them upgrade their guerrillas into actual troops who can fight back directly against me. So the first preference here, if able, is to replace a VC base. That would be a blue base if they outnumbered the blue pieces, but they don't. They do have a single gorilla sharing these 2 spaces with them, but that is not enough. They have to have more red pieces than blue pieces. So instead, they're going to place troops, leaving 2 NVA guerrillas. And this one's pretty simple. Their first tiebreaker for where they're doing it is the city or province with the most NVA guerrillas. And they get to do this in 2 spaces. This is one of the 2 places with the most guerrillas. They've got 4 there. So first, they place troop units, cubes, equal to the number of bases there, plus the trail. So that's 4 for free. Boom. Wow, they're outnumbering us here. And then they can also change as many guerrillas as they want into troops, and they always want to keep 2 to keep their bases safe. So that's going to raise this up to 6 troops. Then we do the exact same thing down here. 1 base plus a trail value of 3 gets them 4 troops. And then they'll replace 2 of their guerrillas, and they always prefer ones that are vulnerable. All right, so they didn't like me coming into the Parrot's Beak, and they are here in force to kick me out. So that is the end of their special activity. They already finished their operation. Every faction that acted goes into the ineligible faction. So that means in the next turn, only the US and or the Viet Cong can activate. And then at the end of the next turn, the ineligible actions will become eligible again. So this event card is done. Rolling Thunder, the top one, comes into play, and we see that Uncle Ho is our upcoming event, which is going to have, the NVA first. They're going to like that, since they'll certainly be active again. So the U.S. is first eligible. Let's check how these are going. So Rolling Thunder, Sustained Bombing. I could degrade the trail 2 boxes. That would bring it back down to 1. That's pretty great. -9 NVA resources, unfortunately, doesn't mean anything against Automa, since they don't have resources. Ooh, and the NVA is ineligible in the next card. That's kind of huge. How good is this one for them? The VC and NVA each execute any 3 free limited operations. That is pretty darn good. And either way, they'd be first. So that's kind of amazing. Let's see. If I let the Viet Cong do this one, -5 to my resources. That's not too bad. Oh, and no airstrike until Coup. Momentum just means it hangs around. So for the next, the Coups somewhere in the next 6 cards or so, for a little while, we wouldn't be able to do any airstrikes. So we could either make the trail go way down and mess with the NVA, or we can let them take away our ability to get rid of the trail. Now, don't forget, we could just do an operation with no special activity, although that would take away the airstrike. I really don't want the trail to stay as high as it is, and then they would only do a limited operation. But yeah, I think I'm just going to do the event here, even though, again, I am wasting the NVA resources part. So that's an event for the U.S., and the trail is down to 1. If you get it down to 0, then you extremely limit what they can do and how mobile their forces are. And that means blue is second eligible. And with red taken out, yellow is going to be first on the next card, so they don't really care about this since they know they won't get first crack at it. So they're going to also do an operation and special activity. And their first card says, are there 15 or more gorillas on the map? And there are not. There are 10 down here and 4 more a bit further north, so they're just under. They have 14 instead of 15. So different card it is. Are underground gorillas in any space not at active opposition? And that's a definite yes. They've got active opposition here, 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 and here. But this province has passive opposition, and that province is neutral. And that one is passive opposition. So they've got 3 places to choose from. And then is 3d6 less than or equal to the available pieces? And again, I don't think we need to roll. Yeah, they've got 16 guerrillas and 4 bases. So they are going to rally as well. First, they want to place bases where there are 3 or more guerrillas. But currently there are only 2 guerrillas in every space, so they'll skip that. So very similar to the NVA, they're going to be placing guerrillas with a 2 to stop the action. And just like the NVA, they can only do it in places without support. But if they have a base, they place a number of guerrillas equal to the bases there plus the population of the location. So the NVA cares more about the trail, the Viet Cong cares more about the big population centers. So where do we want to place guerrillas? There are no vulnerable VC bases. That would mean all the guerrillas with it were flipped. So most population, they're only going to look at the 2 population spaces without support, remember, because support stops them from placing. And then with the most bases. So that already narrows it down to their first spot because this place has 2 population and has 1 base and does not have support to block the action. So they'll go and rally there. And it's 1 base plus 2 population. That gets them 3 more guerrillas. And do they stop? A 1 or a 2? Nope, they're still going. Okay, so there are no more 2 population places they can rally into with bases. So now they're looking, is the Republic a player? Yes. Is the US a player? So they want to go to a place with coin control and with support. The support part doesn't matter because they can't rally into support places. And then they want the place with the fewest non-VC pieces. So that brings us to 2 options. This 2 population province here with coin control and only 2 enemy pieces. And the city also with only 2 pieces, also with coin control. So sometimes you have to roll off between options. We'll call the city 1 to 3, the province 4 to 6. So it's the province first, and then they'll go to the city if they don't run out of actions. All right, now they have no base here, so they only place a single person. And let's see if they stop. Yes, they do. Okay, so they didn't get to go to the other place, to the city. Okay, so then we skip down to stars. If this event was in play, it's not, something would happen. Okay, then they're doing a special activity. So first they're checking if a 2d6 is greater than their agitate total. Their agitate total is the name for this little kind of resource. Again, the automa doesn't track resources, but the VC automa keeps track of something for their ability to change opposition. And it's only out of 2, so the 2d6 would have to roll snake eyes. Yes, it is greater. So they're going to do the tax special activity, which is going to get them more of those points to let them agitate and lower support in spaces, in 1d3 spaces. 1d3, just roll a die. Oh, 3 of them. And they can tax where they have an underground gorilla, no coin control. They basically flip that gorilla over and take some stuff from the population. So they want to do it where they have the most total opposition, and then the place with the most gorillas, and then finally at random. All right, so their first of 3 choices is pretty obvious. They have full opposition and a ton of gorillas here, so they're going to tax here. Now, the nice thing for me is that does shift the space towards support. So now it goes from active opposition to passive opposition. 1 more would be neutral, and then eventually supporting me, which actively takes away from their victory conditions. You multiply the level of support times the population, so they just lost 2 of their victory points for losing 1 opposition in a 2 population space. And they gain 1 agitate total for every population there, so they get 2 in this case. And for other 2, it's all kind of tied. These 3 places all have full opposition and 2 guerrillas each, and they actually don't care about the population. So here, with 3 options and 2 left to choose, we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whichever one I roll will be the one they don't do. So they won't do this one. So they're losing here, but gaining 2, and they're taxing here and gaining 1. All right, and that is the end of their turn. They have lowered their own support from the people, but set themselves up to do a ton of agitation later. All right, and this is interesting. Both of them become ineligible because of the event I did. Only the Republic of Vietnam is going to be eligible on the next card, which is Uncle Ho, and we're hoping... Oh, that was lucky. We got the U.S. First on the upcoming card, so we'll be able to lock out one of the 2 of their factions in the next turn. But yeah, this turn it's just me, and no reason for me not to do it, so I have to decide if I'm going to do the event or a big action, because literally nobody can respond. Okay, known communists. 4 out-of-play U.S. troops to South Vietnam, because you start with some troops out of play, so I would immediately get a bunch of troops. Or my resources plus N. Oh, and then I get to execute any 2 free limited operations? Wow. So I would immediately get an influx of troops anywhere I want them, basically. Like they could pop in here, or almost take over control of one of these places. And then I could do 2 free limited operations. Yeah, I definitely like this. Alright, so first I'm getting 4 US troops from out of play onto the board, which is nice because since they came from out of play, they aren't coming from my little available forces area over there, which is part of the US's victory condition. Again, the more troops they have on the board, the less happy the US population is back at home. So this is great. Now, I can split them up however I want in South Vietnam. What I'm thinking maybe is like this place that just got its opposition changed. Could, like, put at least 3 of them there and gain control of the area. Yeah, let's do that. So it does get coin control back. That gives the yellow, the Republic, +2 points towards victory. So that does give us coin control here, 3 pieces to 2, which gives the Republic, the yellow player, 2 more points. And then where's my other extra troop go? Oh, over here would give us coin control as well, because we'd outnumber them by 1. And then the Republic can do 2 limited operations. They've got Transport, which moves their troops around. They've got Raid, which uses their octagonal units, Rangers, to defeat people. I'm definitely going to do that one. And finally, they've got Govern, which gets them more resources or gets them more patronage towards winning the game. And actually, you know what? I just realized the Rangers can just come in and kill these guys. So never mind, let's not send the troops here and not get control there. Instead, let's send 1 extra troop here to get control. And maybe 2 troops here to try to stem the tide of destruction. Because then what I'm going to do is boop, boop. I can flip these guys, and they just straight up defeat 2 people. There doesn't matter if they're revealed or not, so they have kicked the Viet Cong out of here for the moment. Which also gives them 4 more control points, which is bringing them very close to their victory threshold if there was a coup. Although, again, playing against the automa, I would have to survive until the end of the game, and I would have to have both of my factions at victory, and the US is not there yet. Okay, now I can govern. I can pick 1 or 2 places, except not Saigon, my capital. And I can either add to my resources 3 times the population, so like here it'd be 6. Or if my cubes outnumber the US cubes, like in Who, I can instead steal from the US aid and add it to patronage to help that faction be closer to winning, but mess up other stuff. But that also pushes the population towards the Viet Cong, adds opposition. I don't want to do that. So what I'll do simply is just pick 2 population places that'll add 12 resources. I've been doing all these events, I haven't actually needed resources, but having 42 of them is going to be great. And then the current leader of the country can affect actions, and this one says, each governed special activity adds +2 patronage. So this is cool. Without pissing off my people, without doing anything bad, I get 2 patronage. Which, I mean, really pushes them towards victory. And now the US needs to do stuff too, and we'll be in a great place. All right, and that's it for the Uncle Ho card, one of the fastest cards ever, because nobody else was eligible. So now we go to Top Gun Maverick. I guess the game likes successful movies too. And the next card is going to be Booby Traps. So there's pretty much no way the Viet Cong will go. Even if I pass, they'd probably still wait to get to this Booby Trap card since they're first on it. So my main concern is, what do I want to let the NVA do here? All right, so for the event, this is a capability card, which means either the top or bottom thing would stay in play for the rest of the game. So if I picked the top event, I would cancel the MiGs event. So like later on, if MiG showed up, they wouldn't be able to use the event for it. And I would also airstrike to degrade the trail 2 boxes. It's already at 1, so I would bring it down to 0. That might be overkill. If I let them do it, mediocre tactics, airstrike degrades the trail only on a die roll of 4 to 6. So I would make my own actions weaker for the rest of the game. And I can see that for card 4 for the NVA, this is a critical event. So absolutely, if I give them the chance to activate that card, they will do so, which I don't want to happen. Now, do I care about the MiGs? There's a good chance that card will never come out. I am playing like the short scenario with fewer cards. So if I'm just going to do an operation with no special activity, that'll mean they won't be able to pick the event, and they'll only be able to do a limited operation in a single space, so I'm really neutering how bad the NVA's turn will be here. Now, this is the first time I've done a regular turn, so what can I do? I can train, which spends resources to get more of the Republic's troops out. US troops only come during the coup rounds and from events. They don't generally get recruited otherwise. I can patrol onto LOCs, the highways and rivers, or cities. That one doesn't matter because they haven't messed with me at all there. I can sweep, as you saw earlier, to reveal their guerrillas, or I can assault. I can attack people where we share them, although remember the guerrillas have to be revealed face up for that to work. Now, let's see, assaulting is pretty much useless, and I already said patrolling is as well, so it's really a question of whether I want to sweep or train. Sweeping could get my vulnerable troops out of the parrot's beak. That at least sounds good, although there's not really anywhere for them to go to reveal anybody. I mean, I guess they could come in here, which is almost as dangerous for them. But I think training seems like the more obvious choice. So I can train anywhere, a city or province where I have US pieces. So I could like even train in the Parrot's Beak, I guess. And it's going to be 3 resources in each place I do. If I do places without my bases, The only people I can bring out are my irregulars. I can place 2 of them. But if I pick a place with a base, I can put out Republic of Vietnam units up to 6 cubes and up to 2 of their little ranger guys, although they don't have any right now. So let's see. I think I want to train here. And sure, why not in Saigon and that city. And then do I want to put some irregulars here? Sure, why not? Now, in places where I'm only placing US units in the Parrot Speak, I don't have to pay for it, so I'm doing 3 other spaces. That's 9 of our resources. So I get 2 irregulars here. And then again, in each of these places, up to 6 cubes. And yeah, we don't have the other units placed. So we'll get a ton of guys here. And a ton of guys there. And they'll be ready to sweep and stuff later. Oh, I forgot about over here. Let me redistribute a little bit. All right, there we go. A ton of people out. Okay, and the last thing we can do, this one is really nice, is we can pay to add some support. It's 3 resources per step, and we can do up to 2 steps in one of the spaces we trained. So this is very happy for the U.S. They've now locked the Viet Cong from doing much else here for the moment. That's going to cost us 6, and it's going to get the U.S. 2 times 1 population towards their victory condition. Yay. And we're actually just back to 30 resources, so the governing by the previous player actually paid for that entire action. I felt pretty good about that. Now the NVA is doing their limited operation since they know they can't do a great action with the next card. What do they want to do? Is 3d6 less than or equal to available NVA troops? It almost certainly is, but let's see. Yes. Okay, are there 6 plus NVA troops in any space with coin troops or a coin base? Yes, they're going to attack. All right, so what's their favorite place to remove? Laos or Cambodia with coin control. Doesn't apply because they don't have anybody to attack there. So then it's a city or province in South Vietnam without NVA control. There's a lot of those with coin control. Okay, so they're basically looking at a place with coin control, with the most population, and then the fewest non-NVA pieces. Well, this is pretty easy because they only have 1 place where their troops share a space with units, and it's right there. And the nice thing is this is a limited operation, so they can only do it in 1 space, so that's the only place they'll attack. And they can't do the ambush special activity because, again, it's a limited operation, so they're just attacking. And they remove 1 enemy per 2 NVA troops. And bases are last, so they've got 6 guys here. They're going to kill 3 of mine. So me moving the extra 2 troops in there saved the base, or partially saved it. And they prefer to remove US cubes first, then Republic. So they'll take out both of my guys and that 1 guy. Now for guerrilla forces and for the Republic, their units go right back to here. But for the U.S., any units they lose go to casualties. They will get some of those back, but these are going to hurt them in the coup round when the the public back home reflects on the casualties that are happening. All right, that was a nasty limited operation. So both of them aren't eligible, but blue and yellow are eligible. And we saw Booby Traps is up. Oop, and we have a coup round. Or I should say a coup round coming up. Now, when a coup card is on top of the deck, we know it's the next thing. Then you put a monsoon token as a reminder on the current card. And this has limitations. You can't take sweep actions. The NVA and Viet Cong can't take march actions. Airstrikes are weaker, and there are no pivotal events, although in the short scenario, you don't play with those. So this probably won't matter because they're probably just going to do the event, but it is going to limit some of the actions they can take. And let's see. Yep, as I suspected, this is a critical event for blue, the Viet Cong. So they are now activating this for the rest of the game. Not that I could have stopped them. So now for the rest of the game, in every sweep space where either the yellow or green units use sweep action, the Viet Cong afterward remove 1 sweeping troop on a roll of 1 to 3. So they have a chance to defeat some of our troops every time we sweep. That is nasty. Really disincentivizes us from sweeping a lot. So that goes into play for the rest of the game, but that's the entirety of their turn, so that part's nice at least. And because they picked an event, yellow gets to do an op with special activity, and everybody becomes eligible after a coup, so yellow's going to be right back in it in a second. It doesn't even hurt them to do this. And you know what? It's a little bit silly, but I think I know what I want to do. I think I'm going to do the transport special activity first. I can move up to 6 of my troops or rangers. They can go along any number of adjacent LOCs or cities, basically travel like really far. Now I do have to stop if I get to any enemy pieces along those LOCs, but that's not going to be a problem. So I pick 1 space. I don't think I need a billion troops here. So I'm going to bring 5 troops and 1 police. They're going to travel along tons of uninterrupted spaces all the way to here. Hello. And then we're going to assault here. Normally for the yellow pieces, their troops only count. The police don't. They remove 1 piece for every 2 of their cubes, unlike the US, which is 1 for 1 usually. But in Highland spaces, it's 1 piece for every 3 cubes. So 6 cubes means they only remove 2 people. But that barely gives us 8 versus 7 pieces. We have taken control. Oh, and that does cost 3 resources for me to assault there. Oh, and I forgot to say, because it doesn't really matter, but the transport special activity also flips my rangers back down, so they can do their raid action again. But the coup round is going to do that anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I can't assault anywhere else, but I think that was worth it. In fact, man, if we weren't playing the automa rules, the Republic would actually be ready to win right here if I was only controlling one of the factions. And all right, that's going to be it for our first set of rounds going into the coup. Let's resolve the coup. This takes a little while, so bear with me. All right, so first we check if anybody is winning. The NVA is down to 8, and they need 19, so they're definitely not. Actually, wait, I destroyed one of their bases. They're actually down to 7. Ouch. And the Viet Cong are at 18. And they need 36. They're not winning right now. And if this were a competitive game, then the Republic would win immediately, but the U.S. is not close, and I'm controlling both of them, and it's not the end of the game anyway. All right, next, the trail gets degraded by 1 if I have at least 1 Laos or Cambodian space occupied. Or, sorry, I should say controlled, and I do. Thank you, Fishhook. All right, now we get more resources. Economy is equal to all the LOC little circle values. They haven't taken away any of those, so we just have 15. And then US aid is also 15, so we get 30 more resources, going from 27 to 57. Wow. And we don't care about resources for anybody else because we're not playing with real players. But now, oof, we lose 2 aid for each casualty. So it is down to 9. They are not going to help us out as much next time. Okay, next, the U.S. and the Republic, first the U.S., then the Republic, have the chance to pacify, to increase support in some spaces. And what they need is 3 things. They need coin control in the space. They need one of their own troop cubes, so the U.S. Could do it here. And they need at least 1 police cube. So the U.S. could pacify here, but the Republic of Vietnam could not because they don't have any of their yellow troop cubes. We can pick up to 4 spaces, and in each of them we can spend 3 resources a pop to increase support up to 2 levels. So let's see, where are the 4 best places to do this? Well, certainly here, since that's a 2 population place. And right up here as well. That's going to be amazing to help the U.S. out. And maybe here the Republic could do that if the U.S., chooses to let them. We could do it twice and get rid of all their opposition there. And I think that might be it. We can pick some random 1 population place. Here you go. This one's probably worth doing to keep them more out of it. All right, so we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, get this fully supported, and 5, 6, get that back to neutral. So 6 times 3 is 18. That's going to take us down to 47, 39. We got 7 more support for the U.S. That gets them very close to giving me double wins. We took away 4 opposition from the Viet Cong, so they're even further from winning. But now, speaking of the Viet Cong, they're going to use this agitate value so they can spend up to 7, and they want to spend as much as possible to shift places back towards opposition. And they can do it anywhere where there's not coin control and they have at least 1 piece, which actually I've super duper shut down for them. Man, they're not going to get to do much, are they? Yeah, wow, I got coin control back pretty much everywhere, so they're just going to do it here and here. They're only going to spend 2 of their 7, although they are getting 3 opposition back, 2 for the population there, 1 there. Okay, now we get to the annoying bit, redeployment. This takes a little while. We're going to get to move around a lot of stuff. We'll get to do it for the Republic, and then the U.S. will get to do it in a second. But then the NVA gets to do it, and that's the one that's going to be annoying. So we'll see what we can do. Oh, God, I forgot about this. All troops in Laos and Cambodia leave, and the U.S. troops go to out of play. What have I done? You know what? I didn't pay anything for it. They didn't actually do anything. Let's say that I never put these irregulars there because I was losing for no reason. But yeah, I'm down 5 troops, and I added 4 from out of play, so I'm less than I had. And now the ARVN, they have to do a bunch of stuff. The big thing is they cannot have any troops, any yellow cubes, anywhere that is in a city or where they have a base. Oh, which actually, never mind. I just looked and literally every troop is either in a city or on a base. So that makes it easy. And then we can freely move troops in any of those spaces. So for example, since I got control here, I could shore it up with even more people. I might want to do that. And then additionally, they can move their police around wherever they want, which usually you do to shore up the control that you lost because of the troops moving, but that didn't happen here. So yeah, you know what? Let's try to get a bunch more people. I mean, I am worried about the Parrot's Beak coming in to invade me, but let's get another 6 troops in that place. Well, I don't want to leave Saigon totally undefended. Let's leave a few people there. Yeah, this gets us to 12 people, which means if we do an assault again, we'll take out 4 of their guys, and we'll just wipe them off the map pretty quickly. And then I'm going to do a few other things, just shift some of the police around, for example, get them in these places where it's just irregulars. All right, then we get to the NVA, and actually it's not as bad as I remembered. Basically, they can move any of their troops to any places with bases. So first we figure out where we want to go outside North Vietnam for place troops. So with the most guerrillas, the most bases, we don't have any coin control in Laos or Cambodia. And then South Vietnam without NVA control. So the first winner predictably is going to be here, because it's tied for the most guerrillas with 2, then it's tied for the most bases with 1, and then it's actually in South Vietnam, whereas everything else is in Laos or Cambodia. Second is the Parrot's Beak with its 2 guerrillas. Third is Southern Laos if we have enough troops still to move, and fourth is Central Laos. And how it works is you roll 3d6 and you try to get that many troops to each of those spaces, in this case 13. But you go in order, so of course you're going to run out of troops pretty quickly. So trying to get 13 troops. First, they'll take out everybody from North Vietnam. We can't even go there, so they're not worried about us coming in. So that gets them to 10 already. So then they want to get 3 more. It's going to come from Southern Laos or the Parrot's Beak. They'll roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3 here. Yep. And they'll just kind of go back and forth. So 1 from there, 1 from Southern Laos, another 1 from here. All right, so that gets them to 13 here. I'm pretty sure. What have we got? 12, 13, 14, and they've got 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, so they have retaken control. All right, next is the Parrot's Beak. They're trying to get to 13. They just take all the troops from Southern Laos since that's lower in the priority order. They get up to 9 troops, and they stop there. So they've got kind of 2 main troop locations now. Okay, now we go to U.S. commitment. 1 out of 3 of my casualties go to out of play. Luckily, that's 0 because it's rounded down. And the rest go to available, so they come back. And then we get to mess with U.S. stuff quite a bit. We can move up to 10 troops and up to 2 bases between any of the places on the board and in available. So I could add 2 more bases to the board. I could pull 2 bases off the board to get me to have more available people so I get closer to winning. I could add 10 of these troops to the board. I could take 10 troops off the board. And again, the more I put back in available, the closer I get to winning. The more I take away, the closer I get to losing. Now, the weird thing about solo, this is one of the things I don't like about the automa, is that since they say you don't win until the very end, usually you can kind of go pretty hard and bring out a lot of forces and then just bring them back in later coups, which I guess is kind of how the game normally goes. But, you know, in theory here, if I was a regular player actually playing the game, I might pull off some of my units and just be set up for a quick win. You would never really do that with the automa rules. Now, sadly, I can only do things where there is coin control, so I guess I should have put more people here, because if I had, then I could have... Oh, no, actually, I guess I can't fit a U.S. base. The key thing about U.S. bases is that they coordinate your assaults. You do ridiculous damage with U.S. bases. Normally in U.S. assaults, the U.S. will kill people 1 for 1 for each cube, but in Highlands, they kill 2 for 1, or sorry, 1 for 2. So, or I guess, what is it? Every 2 troops kills 1 unit, compared to the Republic, which is 3 for 1 in that. But if you have a base in a place where you're assaulting, then the U.S. defeats 2 enemies for every 1 of their cubes. So like the 4 cubes here with a base, even though it's in the Highlands, they don't care, could wipe out 8 enemy units, you know, not these hidden guerrillas, of course, but 8 enemy units if they were there. So yeah, U.S. bases are ridiculous for fire coordination. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move this base to here, because these are probably going to be in play with that big force to the north. And take one of my bases from available and put it here. Both of those are, again, in danger. But now if the enemy comes in, we can smash them. And then I'm going to take some troops from available and also from other parts of the board and add 3 to each of these places. Should be probably enough with the bases to stop any aggression they might have. Although it brings our support plus available down to 43. Actually, I just recounted. I think I'm at 44, so slightly better. All right, and that is the end of the coup. Sadly, the trail, if it's at 0, automatically improves to 1. So my little having people in Laos and Cambodia didn't actually matter. Every revealed guerrilla goes back underground. We're all eligible again, and we go back to it. And by the way, we do have a new leader in Vietnam, which changes things. Now, pacification costs 4 resources per level. This happens immediately, so... I pacified 6 places. I have to spend 6 more resources. We are down to 33. That definitely hurts as a random draw. Let's do maybe a couple more rounds to see how things kind of pan out. The NVA might do a big attack. Let's see how it goes. All right, so our active card has the U.S. first, Operation Attleboro, and then we've got that for the next one. Oh, so the VC might skip their turn. So let's see what we do. Stab at Iron Triangle. U.S. free airlifts into, sweeps in, then assaults a space with a tunnel, removing tunneled bases as if they did not have a tunnel. Wow. So tunneled bases are super hard to destroy. Right now they only have a single one, but there are so many guerrillas here. I mean, how many troops would I need to sweep in with the jungle? 12 troops. I would need to get 12 troops in here to do that. So I don't think that's going to happen. How much do I care if they do the event? Select a tunnel space, remove a die roll of U.S. troops within 1 space of it to casualties. That would be those guys. No, that's not happening. So yeah, I think I'm going to do an op only, no special activity for the US. Oh, let's see. Even though the booby traps kind of terrify me, I think I'm going to do a sweep. So I'd love to like go into this place. I mean, I already have almost enough people there. With the jungle, I need one more. I don't want to pull the one troop out of Saigon. Although I think it's the only one who can get there. Guess I could pull this guy from here. Yeah, all right. Well, you know, whatever. Saigon's fine. Yeah, we'll send this guy in. And then we're going to sweep here. And here and here. These aren't juggles, so 2 guys will be enough to reveal all the guerrillas there. Now, the problem is we're doing 3 different spaces, and each of them, they have a 50% chance of killing one of my troops. So let's just go ahead and do it, though. This doesn't cost anything since I'm the one doing it. You only really spend resources as the U.S. when you're using the yellow pieces. And 4 is enough to get both here. But now, let's see if they kill me. It's 1 to 3. No there. Booby traps at the bottom one. No. Oh, come on. And here, booby traps. Oh, my gosh. Take that. All right, so they can only do a limited op. Pretty good chance they're going to skip. Well, let's see. They're not first eligible on a critical event coming up. They are first eligible in Senator Fulbright, but it's not a critical event for blue. I didn't choose op and special activity. They will be first eligible on an upcoming card. Yep. Okay, so they are going to pass. They'd rather get a full turn. And that means red is doing a limited operation instead because they won't even get a turn on the next card otherwise. Or they'll get a crappy turn, I mean. All right, red, what you doing? Are there 20 plus NVA troops on the map? Yes, absolutely there are. Are there 6 plus NVA troops in any space with coin troops or a coin base? Yes, there are. They're going to attack. Now, it is a limited operation, so they're not getting the ambush. We're only doing 1 space. We know where it is. It's the place up there. This is going to hurt. I was hoping that we would be the first ones to assault here, but no such luck. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Oh, that's right, it was 13. So they're killing 6 of my guys, and they alternate police and troops. They will get rid of that 1 police guy, and then 4 more. These just go back to available, but oof, that definitely shored up their control there. If I attack back, I'll only kill 2 of them. All right. So now yellow and blue are eligible. And, oh, blue is first. Oh, man, red's going to be first on the next card. So we're going to get a lot of not great turns here, it looks like. All right, so this time they are first. Hasn't happened too often. This is not a critical event. So it's not critical and effective. Next eligible could choose critical event. No, this one's not critical for anybody. So they are checking like whether it's a great event for yellow, and it's not. Do they have first choice on an upcoming critical event? Ooh, they might. Let's see if this card is critical for them. Oh, actually it is. So, wow, surprisingly, they're going to pass again just to get first crack at this. By the way, usually passing would give you resources, but again, we don't track resources for them. So yeah, yellow has free reign to do whatever the heck they want, and there's no way they're going to miss it. So US moves 4 US pieces from map to available. Oh, that's not great. So we're definitely going to do an operation and special activity for yellow, because it's not going to affect anybody else at all. Now, sadly, I can't really assault with them. I need to wait for the US, because all the places they would assault... they don't have any yellow cubes. Orange cubes can't attack in assaults. Well, first I think I'm going to do a raid again. What if I send this guy in and take out 2 of them? And then, what the hey? I can totally take out their control of this central Laos place here. That's cool, I guess. But I still have to do a main action. I could assault here and take out 2 of their guys. I don't know if that's doing much. Actually, maybe I should train, bring out some more of my guys, and pacify a bit. Yeah, let's do that. That's right, I can actually train anywhere where there is not NVA control. So I can like go straight into here, for example, or here. Yeah, now that I've actually destroyed people there, I could take over there. So, okay, let's do that for 1 training. That costs 3. Then I got these last 2 guys. I don't know. You know, let's get 1 troop in Hue, because I'd like to get that place to actually support me. Oh, wait. I thought it was too easy. You definitely need to place 6 guys. You need to have a city or a base there. So, you know what, let's go here. That's fine. And then even though they wouldn't do it in real life, I'll go ahead and have them, since I control both, get Hue and its 2 population to active support for 8 money with my leader, which gets me a lot closer to that double win threshold. And all right. US is almost definitely not going to get a chance to go here, because it is blue and red first. Ooh, unless red really likes that event. And yeah, so they might skip their turn and let the US get like at least a limited action. All right, I said this was a critical event for the Viet Cong. Shift Saigon. Oh my gosh, Saigon 1 level toward active opposition and aid minus 12? Yeesh. So that destroys the US's support. That takes away 6 of their victory points. And then neither of us is happy about aid being at 0. What? All right, now red has to decide if they want a full op and special activity. Or if you want to be first on the next card, let's see how good this is for them. Oh, it's not even one they would play. Oh, wow, but they're still going to be passing since they're first eligible on the upcoming card. All right. So that means the U.S. gets to do an op and special activity. They will definitely do so. Oh, and we know what the op is. Yeah, we know what the op is. Definitely assaulting. Now, we can assault with U.S. troops for free everywhere they are. We can also pay to assault with ARVN troops in a place that shares both of us if we want to. I don't think we need to, though, or even really can. Now, it's 1-for-1 outside of Highlands, so here we take out the base and both guerrillas. And then in Highlands, without a base, it's 2-for-1, but with a base, it's every unit kills 2 people. So 2 and 2 here are each enough. Wow, we just wiped the Viet Cong almost out of southern Vietnam there. Of course, they just take away all our aids, so I guess it's a little bit of a fair trade. And that's it where we can assault. In retrospect, I probably should have gotten like a single guy here, so I could have at least paid to have them assault as a free extra. You know what, instead, let's do an airstrike here. We love airstrikes, right? Now, I'm playing the first edition rules where airstrikes just do 6 damage straight up. In second edition, they change it to a d6 roll, but hey, we're playing first, so we're going to go with it. And yeah, I can just blow up 6 guys. They have to be exposed, so I can't destroy the base or the guerrillas. Now, we've got 8, and they've got 10, so they're still winning there. Which almost makes me think, maybe I don't attack there? Now, the negative part is they do become more opposed to us, so I just helped the Viet Cong a bit, but they already got so hurt, I'm not really worried. And I also get to degrade the trail 1 back to 0. Ha ha ha. All right, that's the end of my turn. That was a great one. All right, and now red's about to go. Yellow is eligible as well. They've got this card they really care about. Oh, and they got another card. Now, the current card isn't critical for anybody, and the next card isn't critical for anybody, so they're just going to do their thing. So they will do an op and special activity. But good thing for me, the trail is so bad. Okay, support plus available greater than or equal to 42. Yes. Is 3d6 less than or equal to available troops? Well, now it, once again, I don't need to roll because of all the guys I just killed. So they get infiltrate, and then, they're going to march. They're going to move some people in. Uh-oh. All right, so first infiltrate. Remember, their first priority is to take over VC stuff, but they don't outnumber them anywhere. So now we're going to place troops again where they have guerrillas. This is pretty easy. They first prefer the place with the most guerrillas, which is here. Now, what is devastating for them is the trail is 0. So they're just getting 1 guy here for the base, and the next one with also 2 guerrillas is here, so 1 guy here. So wow, that was a terrible infiltrate action for them. And they would change guerrillas into troops, but remember, they want to keep 2 in each space. Okay, now they're going to march. Now, if the trail was better, they can basically pay extra to march through multiple spaces of Laos and Cambodia and kind of move around more. But with the trail being 0, they can only move into an adjacent space. And their activation number for this is 2. If the trail was at 4, they could basically teleport through all of Laos and Cambodia, and they would have an activation number of 1, so it'd be basically because it's free for them in the regular game. So first, they want to march to an LOC adjacent to the U.S. without any NVA there. So they're going to try to mess up one of our highways. And for this, there's no real tiebreaker, except that it has to be next to the U.S., so we just roll for a random space with U.S. They've got this nice little chart. So let's see, 2, 4, 6, so play coup. And sorry, I shouldn't even try to pronounce these words. I know I'm going to get it wrong. All right, so they can't go here because the only guerrilla that could move would leave their bases empty, and they'll never do that. So following the priorities down, they're going to this one. And the only adjacent LOC they can get to is here with a guerrilla. So there we go. They are now blocking this up. It will affect the economy. So it will affect how much money the ARVN gets in the next coup round. And that doesn't cost them any resources. So they don't even roll to see if they stop moving. Now they do this. Select 1 space in Laos, Cambodia without an NVA base adjacent to the most NVA guerrillas. And that's going to be here. They don't want to leave me with control there. And then you pick the origin space. So they're going to move from here because it has the most pieces. And yeah, the instructions for this one is sort of weird. I think they're just asking me to send a single person there, as best I can tell. That does take away my control. And then we roll to see if they stop. Oh, they do? Really? Are you serious? Okay. Sometimes the automa is a little bit weird. Like, they really would have picked their whole action to do that. Wow, worst red turn ever. All right, now yellow can do the event or limited operation. Or they can wait, because with red having gone, they'll be first on the next card. So let's look at these. Degrade the trail by 2 boxes. That doesn't matter. Until coup, infiltrate is max 1 space, or infiltrate is terrible right now. So, okay, they don't really care about that. Do we care about this? Silver Bayonet. U.S. free airlifts into 1 space without any NVA pieces. Then free sweeps and assaults there. That's pretty good. But honestly, I think I'd rather do the limited operation with them and then let the U.S. player get first crack here. Although I guess if I passed, then we could just both go. But nah, let's do a limited operation. And hey, I got a good one. 3 resources. We're going to assault here. Defeat 2 of their guys. They're down to 8 pieces. We're at 9. Back to control of us. All right, that does that. U.S. and Viet Cong are eligible. And again, U.S. will be first on this card. What's coming up? Well, even here, the Viet Cong wouldn't be first, so I guess they aren't going to care. So what's their event? Select a province with NVA troops, then remove a die roll of U.S. troops within one space of it to casualties. It's really similar to that other card. They would hit me here and probably kill all 3 of those guys. That's not happening. So I can either do the event or just a regular operation. Let's see, a free airlift. So I pick 4 spaces. I can move people freely between them. And then free sweep and assault. So gosh, if I can get like 8 people here. I mean, I don't have a great chance of killing the tunnel. It's a 50-50 chance, but I could like take out all of the guerrillas there. That'd be pretty huge. See, I'm going to do it. I pick 4 spaces, and I can redistribute any number of my troops, and then up to 4 of the Rangers or Irregulars, the Octagon pieces, and up to 4 yellow troops, all kind of combined. So up to 4 of any of those among the areas. So the key thing is I want to get 8 people in here. Let's see if I can do that. From here, I can take at least 3 people, or I could take all 4. It's already at active support. I don't really need to leave anybody there. From here, I could take away, same thing, 2 or 3. Now, let's see. In these places, I could afford to take away at least 1. I want to leave some people here in case they build up a big force and come back in. So, yeah, let's get 4 guys from these 3 spaces and all 4 guys from here. So they're just slamming in here. Okay, then we get to do a free sweep, which reveals every single one of these guys, because even though it's a jungle and 2 for 1, we've got 8. Now, we still have to roll for a booby trap. Wow, they have not hit with any of those. Then we get a free assault. All of these guys are gone. Then we got to roll to see if we kill the base. We need a 4 through 6. Come on. Nope. Okay. So now the luck turns the other way with the booby traps. So we do easily take coin control. Oh, by the way, let's bring 1 police officer here so that if I get the chance later, I can change this to not be opposing us anymore. That'd be huge. But now, because I did the event, I'm pretty sure they're going to do an open special activity. Yeah, because they're not even, like, eligible for the next card. So let's see. Are there 3+ VC guerrillas in any space? Definitely not. I've pretty much wiped them off the map. So we get a new card. Are there any 2 population spaces without VC guerrillas? Yeah, 1 billion. It's 3d6 less than available. I mean, yeah, like, literally everybody's off the map. So they're definitely going to rally. That's the only thing that makes any sense. They can't place a base, so they're going to try to place guerrillas. First thing they care about is a vulnerable base, so they're certainly going to do it here. They get 3 guerrillas. It's the population plus the number of bases, remember? Then we roll to see if they stop. On a 1 or a 2, they do. Nope. All right, next they're looking for places with a lot of population. They're going to go here. Just place a single guy, though, without their bases. It's a lot slower for them, and they don't stop. And now they're looking for 2 populations with the fewest pieces. Although really it says 2 population where I don't have support because, oh, by the way, I should be marking where they've already gone. So here and here, there are fewer pieces here. There's another one there. And they don't stop. Okay, 1 here, and they don't stop. Would they actually have the money to do all this? I don't know, but this is the other side of the randomness coin. No, you know what I forgot? Up here, there is no support there. And they still aren't stopping. So now they're going to go to 1 population places. 1 with the base being their preference. And now they stop. Okay, so they did get a ton of stuff down there. But to be fair, it's exactly what they needed to do after I attacked so much. Okay, what's their special activity? Is 2d6 greater than the agitate total? Let's see. They've got 5 agitate. Yes, they're going to tax again. In 1 to 3 places, 3 again. Remember, they want active opposition places and then with the most guerrillas. So they're going to do 1, 2, and then even though it exposes him, they'll do it here because there's no base for him to guard, so they don't care if he gets killed. So that's 2, 4, 5 from their victory conditions. But they're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more points for influencing people. All right. Red and yellow are back. And red is up first. This is not at all critical for them, and they're not first on the next card. It's not critical for us either, so they're just going to do an open special activity. Are they going to get the trail back? Are there 2 pop spaces without coin control? Actually, at this point, I think there are not. Yeah, because, wow, I took that one back, and I'm barely holding on over there. Oh, wait, hold on. Am I? Because VC just recruited there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. Oh, wait, I guess I didn't have control in the first place, or did they kill somebody? I don't know what happened. Well, either way, now, does the NVA have control? I forget how this works. So the NVA has to exceed everybody else there, including Viet Cong. So they've only got, I don't think they do, 4, 8 versus 8, 9. Yeah, okay, so nobody controls there right now. But back to the card, yes, there are 2 spaces without coin control. It's 2d6, less than or equal to NVA gorillas. Oh, definitely, there are more than 12 of them. So they're going to rally. They're going to place bases where there are 3 or more gorillas. They don't have any. Okay, then they're going to do place gorilla with a 2 stopping them. They want to do the places with the most bases first. Now, they only get 2 in a 2 base place because the trail is still 0. They're getting 2 in northern Vietnam as well. Oh, I guess I should roll for the first base. So after the first space... Oh, they do stop. Wow. They're just getting these bad actions over and over. Okay, but they're still getting a special... Oh, they do improve the trail. I mean, that's huge. Now they can actually do stuff. And then are there 3d6? Oh, so they're probably going to infiltrate. Let's roll for it, though. Yes. And now with the trail up, they'll get a few more troops. All right, so they're doing where there's the most gorillas. So this is the first of the 2 spaces. They get 2 bases plus trail, 3 troops. And they can change one of the 3 gorillas into another one. And then their next tiebreaker is most bases. They're going into North Vietnam and putting 3 people there. All right, not terrible, but they are building up again. All right, yellow's going to not get to go on the next card, so do they like the event? Add ARVN troops to double the ARVN pieces in a space with NVA, and then all ARVN free assault NVA. Now, what's interesting, I think add troops when I don't have any available does let me take them from other places on the board. I had to check the rules on that. So I believe I can double my guys here and then blast them. Let's do it. I'm going to take them from Saigon, where I have a ton of troops. So I go up to 14 here, definitely retaking control. And then 14 divided by 3, I'm taking out 4 of these guys. So, woof, that definitely kicked him out. All right, it's blue and green. All right, a no contact, and then ROK. So blue's up first, and then me. And it's not an event they care about, but it does say it's a critical event for me. Place 2 casualties onto the map. All raiders and irregulars underground. Now, I think... It doesn't really check whether it's a critical event that actually does anything, because I don't have any casualties right now, so I think they're going to do the op only. So I like that. What are they doing? There's definitely not 15 or more of their gorillas on the board, although it's close. Yeah, it's like 11. Okay, so they get a new card. Underground VC gorillas in any space not at active opposition. Yep, there's a lot. 3d6 less than or equal to available pieces. Yep, that's automatic. Okay, so they're going to rally again. Ooh, so first they want to place a base where there's 3+ gorillas. All right, they want to do it in the eligible space with the most population. So, I guess this is a move. I mean, the one guy's still going to keep it safe for now, but yes, they just got another base there. Remember, they can be up to 2 bases. Now, that does mean that that's activated, so they can't place anything else. And they still have to roll to see if they stop. Nope. And next, they're going to do it here. It's definitely helping them get closer to victory. And roll again. Oh, they stop there. Okay, and then it's 2d6 less than the agitate total. They got 10 now, so almost certainly. They're probably going to finally spend their money. Yep. So instead, they're going to subvert. We haven't seen this one yet. It lets them change ARVN units, yellow and orange, into their own units. So it's 1 or 2 spaces with an underground, VC gorilla, and any troops or police. All right, so things they care about is there's no vulnerable bases, the most population where they could do it, and then the most bases. So this is definitely going to be their first place. There's only 1 guy here, so they're going to replace him with a gorilla. Okay, next, there's a lot of tiebreakers for 2 population places. They're going to go here because it has the most gorillas. And they prefer to remove 2 when they can. So they're going to get rid of both these guys, which takes away my control. And then they take away patronage for every 2 people they remove, so they got rid of 3 people, so we lose 1. All right, and that leaves me with the next choice. Yellow's next on the next card, so... Oh, no, I'm sorry, they did a special activity. So, yeah, I want to do the event or a 1-space op. Place 2 casualties on the map. Yeah, I mean, this is useless. So I'll do a limited operation. I guess sweep makes the most sense, right? I'm still here. Yeah, I don't need to bring anybody else in, so we'll just go ahead and make these bases vulnerable. But then I got to roll for their traps, and it finally works. We have a casualty, darn. All right, yellow-red eligible. And, oh, okay, so this will be the last turn. We'll just go through 2 coups. And we won't actually go through the whole coup. We'll just see how close we were to winning. So we're just doing ROK, and then we're finished. Okay, it's critical for blue. Huh, would they have... No, because they wouldn't have been first. So yeah, it's not going to matter for yellow or... So yeah, it's not going to matter for yellow-red. Oh, I'm actually first, aren't I? So what is the event? US or ARVN, free sweep into and then free assault Fuban in all adjacent spaces as if US and as if all RVN cubes are US troops. Oh my gosh. Only one problem, nobody's there. So, never mind the event. And this is not even a red event that they would play, so yeah, I mean, I might as well just do the biggest action I can and let them get a limited operation. Although, remember, since it's a coup, we can't sweep. Let's see, I could patrol to get rid of that guy from the LOC there. Could assault up here and wipe out the final troops, at least. Well, you know what the hey, let's see if we can win the game here, like if we were actually stopping. So I got to get a single point of control or patronage. That's pretty easy. And then the big thing is getting the U.S. up that high. 6 of that would come from flipping Saigon back to full support, so then I would need 3 more. Yeah, I guess that's not possible. Well, so we can get things close. Let's say we train here for 3 resources and then flip this for 4 more, 7. We are very poor. We're down to 9 resources, but that gets the U.S. to 48. Then for our special activity, we can govern in 2 spaces, get some, we can add it to aid. Although we're at 0 aid and we're about to lose from casualties. Oh, crud. You know, last time I think I governed, I didn't do aid. I did straight to resources. That actually would have been better in a way. But I would have 12 less money. Let's see. Right now I'm at 9 resources. So let's say that I didn't do that, but I think I can still increase the support. That way we're kind of rewinding things. So aid would have been 12 higher, but then there was 3 that we couldn't lose. So I think it'd be at 9. And now we're going to govern. And we'll pick some random place here. We'll lose the support there to gain 1 patronage. Yay! And then in one of our 2 population places, we'll get 6 more aid. So that would get us to 15. Now, hold on. We would have had 12 more aids. We would have 12 more resources? I don't know. It's all weird because I messed that up. But yeah, I think we're actually better off than we would have been. I don't know. And then they're going to do a limited operation, and that'll finish us up. Let's see, what is it? Yeah, they have a lot of available troops. And are there 6 plus NVA troops in a space with coin? There are not this time, so we're going to flip because we just took out so many of them. Are there 8 plus NVA troops in a space outside the south? Yes, they have 10 in Cambodia. So they're going to march. Oh, but you can't march when it's a coup round. So I think when that happens, you just go to the next card. Okay, there are 20 plus troops on the map. There actually are barely not. It looks like there's 19. Okay, another card. Is coin controlled? Yes. Are there 20 plus NVA troops on the map? No. Is 2d6 less than available guerrillas? Yes, it is. Okay, so they're going to rally in one place. Yeah, this is honestly a nice action for them to end with against a bunch of people here, and they improve the trail one as we go into the coup round. So there's no effect for this guy. And we're not going to do the full coup thing, but just to show where we ended up. Technically, yellow was ready to win. US was almost there if we just had a few more troops off the board. NVA is doing pretty rough. They only have 6 bases on the board, so they're actually worse than they started off, and they don't have control of any of southern Vietnam, although they do have a bunch of troops ready to attack. And the Viet Cong is not much better. They only have 13 with so many of their bases removed. So I think I was in a pretty commanding spot going to the last set of cards. Probably would have pulled off some US troops here and just tried to held out and build up more support with the resources we did have, although resources would have been a problem. Though we would have been back to like 40-something. I'll have to look back at the video and see if I messed up more on that. So that was Fire in the Lake with the new expansion Automa. My thoughts, most of this is identical for other coins. I love the event card system. I think it runs really smoothly. This one compares most closely to Pendragon of the ones I've played. Gandhi and Cuba Libre are not as much like kind of military simulations, but this one, like Pendragon, is very much attacking. Now, in some ways, this one is more complicated just because there's more stuff going on, but in some ways it's less because Pendragon has like all these extra rules for fortifications and stuff, so I'm not sure if I would say this is easier. I'd say they're probably similar in complexity level, but both are more complex than Cuba Libre, which is the easiest, and Gandhi. I do think this Automa works well. I definitely prefer it here and in Gandhi over what Cuba Libre and Pendragon have. Though I will say, just like for the other ones, it is very kind of onerous a lot of the time to run the Automa for the coin factions, because like whenever they have to sweep or move around, they have so much mobility and they just kind of teleport all over the board that can take forever to figure out where those things happen. So I definitely vastly prefer in this one to play the way that you saw in the video with Viet Cong and NVA being the only Automa. I just find it's a lot easier to run. When I've played where I'm a single faction, I'm having to run 3 Automa, it was really a beast. It felt like the most kind of cumbersome of these games I've played, even more than Pendragon, which is probably the most complicated otherwise. So would I recommend this one? It's tied with Pendragon for me, I think. I do still prefer the more militaristic ones over Cuba Libre and Gandhi, but those are both easier to play and easier to run. I do like that this one, the coin faction, like the US has some special things going on, but the NVA and the Viet Cong are pretty comparable in their capabilities. It's pretty easy to kind of differentiate between them. And yeah, like it's not impossible to play. I definitely have enjoyed this one. I had fun recording the playthrough. I don't know though. I'm not sure. This might be like my second ranked coin. Very good, and I do strongly recommend this. Having to go through the regular flowcharts is kind of a beast, and sometimes they get into like weird loops and stuff, so I definitely prefer the cards. The one possible negative, though, you saw it, sometimes they just like roll really badly right away and their actions are super cut short and doesn't really make sense. And sometimes they like just keep on not rolling and they get to do way more than they should. It's the nature of the beast, but I do kind of wish that there was like some sort of abstracted resource tracking so that like if they really did almost nothing on one card, they would do more on the next one, or if they like did a ton on one card, they would do less on the next one. I know that would make it even tougher to run, but it would just make it a bit more realistic, because right now they sometimes do too much or too little, and it can really swing the game either way. So yeah, that's my only like major complaint with the cards, but otherwise I do think this is the best system, and I look forward to more coin games in the future using this. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Sorry this was a long one, but hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to let me know all the many mistakes I made besides just the governing aid thing. Good gaming, everyone, and I'll see you at the next stop.